What's going on, producers? This is Kobe with Sample Source, back with another video. If this is your first time on the channel, I help producers to get beat sales and make more money online. So before we even get into the video, I wanted to offer you a free upsell PDF that's going to teach you how to upsell your beats and get more money from them. And this is basically an exact PDF from my paid course that I'm giving away for free. So what's better than that? So make sure you go into the description below and download that completely for free. So in today's video, what I'm going to discuss is what is better for sending samples out for placements. Is it Dropbox or is it Google Drive? So we're going to compare those two, and I'm also going to give one alternative as well that's completely for free. So let's jump into the video. The first thing to keep in mind is what is the fastest one. So they do have different speeds. What is the easiest one to preview files on? What is the one that most people are using? And those three factors are going to come back into play a lot more often than you would think. So because a lot of people are on both platforms, but they don't keep all these factors in mind when they're dealing with the music industry and what is standard. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the speed. So what is actually faster? The fastest one is Dropbox. And this is for previewing files, but also for downloading files. Google has a few different things that come into play. And so I want to tell a story about how I went to Atlanta and I was actually talking with a publisher, somebody who worked with a big publishing company, and he was thinking about like offering me some money for my catalog of placements and things like that. So we're just sitting down in a restaurant having a discussion, and he wanted to hear some of my work, and so I had it all on Google Drive. And when he tried to pull it up, the problem was that it was loading so slowly and that he wasn't able to actually preview them. So he got frustrated and he said, you know what, I'm not even going to listen to them. And so, we're still on good terms to this day, but that honestly was one of the biggest reasons why I looked into which one is faster. And a lot of producers will say that if it's on Google Drive, they're not even going to open it. And so that's a problem. And I'm not biased at all. I have a lot of stuff on Google Drive and Dropbox. So I'm giving a completely unbiased review, but I'm letting you know what is the industry standard as well. And, you can send on either one. If it's working and no one's complaining and they're still cool with it, that's fine. But this is just from my experiences and what I would recommend. So when it comes to speed, Dropbox is actually a lot quicker with the previews. Something interesting about Google Drive is when you try to preview from your phone, at least from my iPhone, whenever I try to preview a file, it won't actually play unless I hit the download button. And so it has to like download it, which is not really downloading it, but it's like buffering the audio, and then you can listen to it. And it's a little bit counterintuitive. You wouldn't think that you would have to jump through that hoop to actually preview the file. So that's another problem that Google Drive has, and where Dropbox really wins in the speed and intuitiveness category. So now that we've talked about the speed of those two platforms, let's talk about who actually uses one more than the other. So obviously a lot of people use both Google Drive and Dropbox. There's probably more overall users for Google Drive, but when it comes to the music industry, for whatever reason, they use Dropbox a lot more. So if you're sending out samples specifically for getting placement opportunities, I would recommend sending through Dropbox. And this is just because it, like we talked about, it's already faster, but also I feel like there's more of a user base on that, especially for the music industry. So now we've talked about those two factors, I also want to give a third alternative. So what I like to use a lot is WeTransfer for sending out samples. This is basically if I want to send out full stems, then I will use WeTransfer. And this is completely for free, up to 2 gigs at once, and you can send up to 10 recipients at the same time. So this is really cool. I use it to send out samples to all of the people that I collab with for BeatStars collabs, and I also use it to send stems out whenever I am making individual samples for bigger producers and things like that. So you should definitely check out WeTransfer if you send a lot of stems. I think it is amazing. Let's also talk about how you should send out your packs. So I think the best way that you can send out samples, especially for placements, is using only MP3s and putting the stems at the end, so that you have the entire composition and then all of the stems at the end in all in a row with this gap in between each of them. And that way it's a lot smaller file size. You can download it way quicker, you can preview it faster, and you don't have to upload a bunch of files all at once. You don't have to zip anything. You can just put it in an MP3, export it, and then upload it as a pack, and that way they can go and preview all of them, download it, and then they don't actually have to go into the stems folder and download it. They can just use the same reference that they listened to at first. So hopefully that really helps you with sending out files. I'm not bashing on Google Drive too much because I still use it, but I think the Dropbox is a lot better. Now, there is one caveat to that, is that Dropbox doesn't allow you to delete anything. It actually just kind of archives it, and it still takes up space. And so that's what I really don't like about Dropbox, and why I like WeTransfer, because you just send it, one time for the one time, and after that it'll expire in like 7 days or something like that. But I think that that's just a better way to send, because then you're not using up all your space on your Dropbox account, and then they're just trying to push you to get the Dropbox Pro. And that's a reason why Google Drive is better in that category by a long shot. So make sure you weigh both of those before you actually choose a platform to use. I recommend Dropbox, but you can still send the MP3 references with the stems at the end through WeTransfer, and that would solve both of your problems with these platforms. So hopefully this video has been helpful to you. Make sure that you download the free upsell PDF. It's amazing. It's really going to help you to structure your offer and get more upsells and increase your average cart value. So if that's interesting, make sure you go into the description below. And if you leave with nothing else, make sure you get that free PDF. I'll see you guys in the next video.